we're gonna finish up today. It's a topic we wanted to talk about that goes across all generations, and we want everybody to chime in on this one on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those things where you can engage with us and discuss this topic. But it's about relationships and men and women. Now, dating in a COVID world, a pre-COVID world was one thing. Dating in a present COVID world is something completely different. I can't imagine what it's going to be like in a post-COVID world, but we married, so we don't know about the single folk, but we have perspective on these type of things because, like I told you, Free, that you and one of our other friends is the only two friends that I have that are married. Everybody else I know is single and they got single problems. So, with that being said, just based on the conversations that you've heard and the people that you've talked to, and the ones that I've heard and the ones that I've talked to, we wanted to. Who's got it worse in your opinion, men or women? Because I mean, I've observed some things, and boy, women got it bad. But who do you think?
Well, it depends on the standpoint from which you speak. Now, if you're speaking of availability, options, or just dealing or navigating relationships in this time, I believe it may be tougher for women just because they outnumber males. And when you limit opportunities and everything, it causes difficulty. So even if you're working on things now with individuals and now this pandemic has hit, it can cause a strain and cause uh, division. So I think it's always tougher for the ladies because just the pool is a little bit smaller. Guys will be guys. That's all I'll say on that. I don't want to end up speaking uh, for all.
I'm
People will trap you in those conversations. Be like, "Oh, see, that's how y'all think." No,
I'm still trying to figure out who you are, man. Like this Joker got a microphone and some lights, and now he is like this show has turned into it's turned into the Steve Harvey show in here.
no,
McKee, what
no,
happened? He pulling up talking about some, well,
no,
you
no.
know, the
First
guy
of all,
the
I thought we were
ladies they
talking about
have it.
I thought we were talking
It's
about
a
a serious
serious
subject.
topic, but Jesus,
I'm trying to talk about a serious
you
subject, and you
you can talk about it
look.
in a
I
regular
thought.
voice. But no, so here's the thing. Like I like from what I've heard, what I've heard. So there's women. You know, I work with a lot of young people. Have worked with a lot of young people for quite some time. When I say young people, I'm talking millennials, and then whatever that generation is that's behind millennials. I don't even know what they call that one, but that one. So I work with quite a few of them that are in that generation. And a lot of what I hear is, particularly from women, which is you meet a guy either online or in person. They have one good text between the two of them, and then the next text that follows is a penis pic, and it's like, whoa. So what y'all are getting are the unsolicited penis pics when you meet dudes, and I was just like that alone was like, man, y'all got it bad because again, going back to what you were talking about, and I think this gets missed sometimes, but because there is a because our population is top heavy with women. Again, for dudes who think you being a player, women out ratio men 13-1. Here's what that means for you that don't understand it. That means that you have at least 13 options to score one. That's what that means. So it's not that you're a player. I mean, the rationing is plentiful for men, and you when you look back on other data, it's because men do a lot of stupid stuff. Get in wars, join, we do crazy stuff, and then we end up dying early. So there's a or and then you hear some people talk about how we go to jail. That's factored in a little bit, but it's a small portion of what it is we're talking about. But when you look at what they have, and we're gonna look at the so it's Gen Y is the one. Thank you, McKee, for the details. Gen Y is that other one, but it's we you have social media that's kind of supposed to bring people closer, but it's actually drawing more of a distance. And I don't understand why we're having so much trouble in a pandemic where people want to go out because again, you're on social media and people are dating. I mean, Catfish the show still exists for that reason, but you have so many people who are dating differently these days, and as a result, the women are bearing the grunt of the dating pool because again, dudes are basically taking their shots and like, look, let's get past what we need, what I'm looking for. Let me just go on and send you this D pic real quick, and let's see if you say yes or no. Because at the end of the day, the only thing you can do is say no. But I can tell you now, if I were single and every time I were to get a booty pic or something like that, dog, I would be sick of it. And that is being on the other side of the 13-1. So I can't imagine what it would be like for women who are getting them at an excess. Like, hey, yeah, I'll give you a chance. Here's my phone number. And then as soon as you give me your phone number, here's a picture of a penis show up in your phone. Like, it's got to be tiring. Like, I don't know how exactly any other way to put it, man. But I know I would be tired of seeing it if it were the other way. So I can't imagine. And it wouldn't. I don't think for men it would come at that kind of a rate as high as it would for women. And for the women that have expressed this to me, like it's coming in at an extremely high rate. And then there's so many different ways to meet each other on different social media platforms. And so you're not just meeting people in clubs or at church or in the library or you know what I mean? Like that's not where it's not where you meeting people anymore. You meeting them all kinds of places now, and it's hard to be careful. And considering that women are the more vulnerable of the two, I would say it's them.
Well, uh, agreed, agreed. Um, but once again, in light of the situation we're in, we've seen a rise in these social media platforms and these dating platforms and meeting people. I know folks that utilize them. And now let me say this to some, uh, there these things breed, and maybe more so women, because like you say, sometimes guys still misuse that thing to be playeristic. Let me see how many I can meet. But I think women may more so see this as a safe place um,
Right.
to kind of avoid getting to a comfort level of simply sharing my phone number right off the bat. I can use some of these platforms for a little bit to talk with you through where you can't come off doing crazy stuff. Some that I've talked with, they use it. So, it depends on how you view it. And I think they may see these platforms as more of a safe, more screening even more. You see what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
um, I,
But here's something that our producer just put up that I find interesting is says that for people in relationships who are married, cohabitating, or in a committed relationship, roughly about 51% say that their partner is often or sometimes distracted by their cell phone. And it's how Americans are navigating their relationships, using cell phones and social medias and or social media. What am I? Social media is put an S on it. But I find that interesting. And one thing that I've done personally is, like, let's say, and again, we're talking pre-COVID, is when I would go out with my family, I would leave my phone in the car because I don't want to be distracted by what's going on. Like if it's work related, work can wait. So I try to make sure that I give my family as much time as possible when I'm with them, particularly with my wife. I try to make sure that I'll make sure her phone's on her if we're out and somebody's keeping the kid. So if something happens, somebody can be reached immediately. And most of the time is they're gonna be reaching out to her anyway. So it's stuff like that that I like, you know, try to try to try to try to keep that attention going in that regard because there's like
Yeah.
there are people who allow like cell phones and technology to really get in the way of life
Hmm.
in a lot of different ways. Like I'll never forget this. I went out to a club. This is maybe about 2 or 3 years ago. Went out to a club with a couple of buddies, and I'm just sitting around. And I'm looking, and I noticed that the scenery was so different because there were people. People seemed to want to show other people that they were having fun instead of actually living in the moment. I was
Hmm.
just like, God, it's got to be miserable that you want to capture the moment more than you know what I'm saying, capture it over your phone more than you want to capture it in memory. And I found that extremely interesting. And by the way, it's the last time I went to a club.
Let's talk about your old behind up in a club a couple years ago, old man. Now let me change that because
Again, I
what I
just,
found out today that we are technically, by definition, millennials.
are we really?
Gen Y, baby. Or Gen Y. I think we're more to the Gen Y, but we technically meet the millennial platform. So we can't get old millennials when we are one of them.
It's the That's the thing though. This is what's funny about the millennials and the Gen X. Not Y. Gen Y is that's a different set of
Yeah,
different set
we
of
on the
people.
cusp of Gen
Yeah,
X and Gen
we're
Y.
like we're like right there between Gen X and millennials. So it's unclear because we were both born in 1978, and it crosses that boundary between 70, 77, and 79, and I've actually seen 80 in it. So it's like it's depending on where you pull the data from is uncertain, but we could be considered because you're absolutely right. We could actually be considered both. We're either at the end of one or the very beginning of the other one, no matter where you look. So
Producer is
so
wilding on the chat.
yeah, either either way.
Oh. we won't repeat that. We won't repeat that. We was that? Yeah, that's the good generation. I'll say that. But
Yeah,
no,
exactly.
but no, but I said all that to say this, that being on the cusp, and being raised by most of us either traditionalists or baby boomers.
Hmm.
um, we still carry those as because we were right there as the transition into this new age of technology. Like
Right.
it's our generation that brought it to the mainstream. When you look
Yeah.
at the hip hop culture, which at the time we were in it, the sky pagers, the all that, the tablets, the two-way pagers, on up to cell phones and everything. So it's like we look at it from both perspectives because I know we utilize the cell phone a lot for emails and stuff because it's very beneficial and we're
Yeah.
right there at it when it started. So we know the benefit, but at the same time, we remember that time we didn't have it
You
and we can fall back and be like, y'all let that get in the
we're
field of having a good
we're
time and
we're the
talking.
we're
Yeah.
the we're the pager generation.
Well,
We're the
yeah.
we're the
Oh,
generation where we would go
yeah.
page me, and then you
Yeah.
would carry a cell phone because this is what y'all don't understand. So let me get some games to you millennials real
Back
quick.
when
You'll
cell
really
phones
understand.
had
And
minute
yeah,
restrictions.
the Gen Z centennials. Let's go back with that. there was a time where there was no unlimited calling. Like you had
That's
to,
right.
like there was like you only had like a couple hundred minutes until
Nights
9
it was
p.m.
yeah.
And look, and look, I'm gonna tell you what's funny. And even then, like there was a period of time where you didn't have nights and weekends, you just had weekends. So
Yeah.
this was so
Yeah.
we were in the cell phone game early when you would
Yeah.
plug that joint into your car because
Yeah.
it was a box. Like it was just a box. My grandma
Yeah.
had one. It was right before Verizon turned Verizon. It was just
Yeah.
one big leather box and a phone in it.
Yeah.
And I remember going out to the club carrying it with me, and it was like, what you got in there? Like it's a phone. And I would sit in the car and talk to people, and then she'd be mad because I done ran up the phone bill over the
I'm telling
weekend
you.
trying to show out. But going back to what I was saying, you would have the text message because like texting is real big right now. But nobody knows that the original texting was the two-way pager, and it had
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
very short life. Like it was only alive for a very
Yeah.
short time. But there was a two-way pager, and all you did was text on it. That was it. All you could do
But
was send
but
messages.
remember, you had data restrictions on texting at
Exactly.
first. So it wasn't texting when it first came to the cell phone game, it wasn't that a big thing like that.
Yeah. And,
Now,
and we said all that to say this: you can survive without your cell phone. Because we did, and it's not that hard. Like when you really think about it, it's like, look, man, you really trying to capture everything on camera is really what's killing it because you're not actually enjoying the moment at all because you're too busy trying to capture the moment for everybody else. It's the reason why you don't want to be in real life on a reality show because you don't want to you want to spend time trying to live life and capture those moments in real time and in their greatest authenticity. And I don't know, is cell phones, did we just get there? Did we get to our cell phones killing relationships? Is that what's doing it? Is that where we ended up?
yes,
So what?
technology. But well, let me say this, and then we'll, because I know the time's running on a segment, but I will say cell phone, social media, because everybody wants things like this. So your attention span is boom. We get used to something
Just
for a
hit it on the
year,
neck.
then
Just hit the
something
nail
new
on the head.
comes out or updated something. So with the popcorn generation, so we get like that with people sometimes. Oh, this is cool at the start, but then I'm into something new now. I need to update. So it's that update society that we're in. Uh, and Beyonce killed the game when she put out "Upgrade You" because that spoke right to it. So now it's just like, oh, I'm tired of it. Let me upgrade.
Yeah, exactly. So, a couple of things. You hit this right on the head. I want to read this Pew Research because I'm always taken aback by Pew Research data. It's awesome. But 40% of partnered adults say they are bothered by the amount of time their partner spends on their cell phone, which I agree. It is amazing. I get irritated myself. And then about 1 in 3 partnered adults say they've looked through their current spouse's or partner's phone without their knowledge, but there's strong public consensus that this is unacceptable, which is also by Pew Research.
Yeah,
And I don't disagree with that at all. So that I mean, because it is unacceptable to go through your spouse's cell phone without their knowledge for sure. Like
that's right.
you have to be
And
able to develop some trust. But you just hit the nail on the head. If we can end it with this, which is the biggest killer of relationships and understanding is impatience. Is not technology. Is not it's not the day and age. Nothing changed. I find myself saying the same stuff my uncles used to say to me in the early '90s. Like it doesn't change. The only thing changes is the people. So, but impatience is the killer of all things because it's really just a matter of you being able to be patient. And in this society, is like you said, people want things so quickly now They just want the now, 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 now so quickly. They end up ruining things in the long term, trying to fulfill what they want in the short term. So maybe that's where we at with this is maybe we should be more patient as a society, particularly with relationships. But we got way off topic because this was about who's got it worse. Are we now saying that women are the most impatient, or is it men?
No, we won't go there on this. That's for
Yeah.
next.
Matter of fact, that's all the time we have for Mac and Free today. we go we go check y'all out next week. Make sure you check us out on the podcast on Spreaker. Go there and subscribe, but also come and watch the wonderful, wonderful world of Names Are Not Important of Mac and Free on YouTube. See us there, subscribe there, watch us as much as you can. Peace.